How to create a Stellaris mod based off of human part 4. We're going to go over how to do hair design and see how that goes. So far, part 3, we got clothing. It's not perfect, but it gives you the basics of how you could create clothing off of using stable diffusion off of the same frame. It's not that hard. And then part 2A is going over kind of highlighting, making everything so vibrant and bright so it's not like this color of saturated. You can make it however you want, and just you have free will with stable diffusion to create your designs and whatnot. And you could go even further with stable diffusion with styles and whatnot. So I'm not gonna go too much with it. It's best to watch stable diffusion videos of how to go around prompts and negativity prompts and how to use the denoising settings. So it's really interesting. It's the new artist calculator day and age. I recommend using it. It saves me, like, if I were to do artwork, it saves about 1 to 20 days worth of work in a matter of 6 hours. So it's really useful, does the job, and you could train it to get your style. Definitely worth looking into. If you don't have the graphics, there's other websites that could kind of supplement it and get you your roundabouts. There's a lot of free stuff out there as well. So for this, we're gonna go with the hair design. Like I said before, this creating a human portrait and using all of the features is not what I'm known for Stellaris making these mods, but see how it goes. It's work of uh, it's just a working draft of a project pretty much. So let's get down to it. For the hair, let me just minimize it. We got these 3 designs. We have template human, then we have human. We need a hair design. And we also have one over here that we could use, the red hair. That one wasn't too bad. Now when we drag it, we're gonna have to drag it to the right, probably. We're gonna see where it goes. I'm not really too sure how they did the hair design. Like if it went out here, so it really matters where you position the head piece, the hair, especially if it's the farther one, a little bit closer. So we'll see. I'm gonna run Stellars. Personally, the best way to get a good guesstimate is running Blender and opening up a mesh and then adding the images so you could kind of glimpse with using these images. But let me just see real quick. Yeah, because it messes with the air for that one. And then number 2, when I moved it backwards, the hair looks like it's off by about 4. So it's kind of okay. So there's probably some empty gaps right here. Makes sense. So what's happening is when they drag this over, it's looking like, let's see if I have this whole folder up. It's like the hair is, let's see, doing something weird. It's like this or something. I think it's maybe doing something like that. It's weird layer maybe. So I'm assuming I just have to push back the hair, like something like that possibility. All right, so here's gonna be really tricky with using stable diffusion because it's not like you could just do hair without a face, right? So we're gonna definitely use the original image. Take those off. Okay. And we're gonna rework it. So what I mean by that is we're gonna duplicate this. We're just gonna assume that the hair is supposed to be like right here. Let's just assume. So we're gonna put this up here and we're gonna fix. Ooh, I mean, it's tricky. Really tricky because of the layering. It's this should be up at the same time. Yeah, it's gonna be a little tricky. So we're gonna do our own way of creating the hair. We're gonna take that off. It's just the angle of how the hair is. So we're gonna do our own. So we're gonna fix everything. Just gonna give maybe that much. We're just giving a little blended. Reality is when we use stable diffusion, it's gonna catch on real quick. So I'm not really you don't have to do so much for what I'm doing. Like this is really, you'd say like maybe extra credit. It's not like we have to do too much work. Long as it's, this is light, this is dark, Stable Diffusion is going to catch on saying, that's skin. We shouldn't be tampering with the skin in an odd manner. And it's going to just be working just fine. Using the blend tool doesn't have to be perfect. We're just going to smudge more than what it's already on here. Especially delete that. We'll delete that lighting too. I don't like the lighting as much. We can copy more, put it like this, bring it down. We're going to erase a bit. We're going to erase a bit. We're going to erase a bit. Just going to have a little bit. Just add that. We're going to do the same thing again of the same copy. This time we're going to rotate it about around there. And we're just going to erase. Go to the sides, erase. Then erase. That's fine. Get that. We're going to blend. All left and right. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're not making this perfect. We're not going super detail. It's just something to make sure that Stable Diffusion could just see. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing we do is going to be perfect unless you want to go in that route. But you might as well just draw it at that point. We're just shaping of what we want Stable Diffusion to catch on. Stable Diffusion might go outside the boundaries. That's fine. Like this, I'm not a big fan of this type of effects, especially that shadow. I mean, I could change it, but I'm gonna make it simple for everyone to follow. If someone were to follow this, we're just gonna blend. Doesn't matter. We're just gonna blend as much. Go with it. However you want to go. Just keep blending. And smudge as much as you want. It's all gonna be changed. All this detail is gonna be changed. I'm not fancy with these balls, hairpins. I'm just gonna take them out. Even this brown's different. It's fine. Doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing here is gonna be the same anyways. Now we're trying to get the hair. We want to make sure it's like the same brown style here. And looking at it, we could see it from a different angle. I'm gonna use white real quick. I'm not a big fan of like that Star Wars type of hairstyle. So I'm just gonna do something like that. Make it a little roundish. Now I'll fix it. And then bring it back to inpaint. We're just going to see what this leads. Well, we can see hair is just looking not great at all. So let's just wrap it up. Let's go. And we're getting somewhere with this. Use that. But at this point, we could add some more negativity prompts. So for example, we could add, copy this real quick. We could add stuff like this, especially right here, where it's just not where I'm aiming for to get more real. All right. And we're looking better. Do something like this. I think that'll be fine. It's good shadows right here too. Doesn't change too much of the hair. But cutting it and making it work for this, which is going to be a little tricky. We'll see how it goes. So for hair, like I said, the tricky part is we're gonna have to put this hair. I'm just gonna grab this and portrait. We do have that one female red style that we used. I have to open that up into another set or another tab and see where it's at. And then we're just gonna copy this, paste it over, we're gonna put this under it so we get a little glimpse of exactly where it's going and why it's doing that. So now I can see why it's kind of jaggedy. So we need to go like this. Possibility with the hair. Who knows? It's a good try. What we can do as well is see if we can actually see where this goes with the facial. Like we could take all this off, but if this is on top of the face layer, then this should blend in if it's pixel to pixel. But I can also blur the sides so it doesn't, if it's off by a few, it's just not noticeable. But we'll see. So I'm just playing it by eyesight, and when you're just not looking at the correct format of the mesh, you're just going in blind. And that's fine. Close enough. If we have to go around, we could just go around. We'll see how this template looks. We're gonna rechange the hairstyle. Yes. It's already saved with all our settings. Now I'm not too sure if it did save it. So we're just a little bit over. The ear is off by a lot. So it's not, we could see, for example, where we need to go with it. So with the mesh, I bet you this small little mesh, what they added is this like small little room. So it's really, yeah, I have no idea what they did over here. So I'm gonna have to move it backwards. Possibility, let's just say 4 maybe? Like how I moved the other one 4 forward? Who knows? It's looking better, but you can still see the lines right here. So you can see, so I wonder if I can move it, if it, if moving it down will do it justice, or I might have to cut a few. We'll see. It's best to duplicate it. We go off a little, and let's say I'm gonna duplicate it again since I just did that. I'm just gonna call it down. I'm gonna move it down 4. Right now we're just trying to fit the puzzle. It's not gonna be perfect because it's not to the T of how they drew the hair and how the face we have is kind of pushed forward. So now we're gonna have to kind of match the upper part. You could kind of see right there, and it's more. So that isn't good. We'll try left just a 1 or 2 more. And it's looking, I would say better. I mean, I could easily go right here and maybe recolor it a little. It's kind of a little too light. Same with right here. The animation is still flickering. The pixels are just stretching in a really bad posture. This animation just goes too fast. But right here is perfect. We can fix that. What I mean by that is, so we had this right here. So we're gonna bring this real quick over here. We're gonna look at this weird funky thing, and we're gonna see this. And that's what we're seeing. So we're gonna have to blend. So it's 2 different colors. We're gonna say this is a good position. So we're just gonna duplicate it also. And we are really just going to maybe, we could just see about erasing half of it. Just gonna see what this effect does, possibility. If that blends enough, then it's good. If not, we're gonna have to erase a lot. And it looks much better. It's blended. You can't tell the difference really. It's not 100%. We could kind of move it up, right, down, left to get it where it's like to the T. Especially right here, you can see that we could do more detail on the chin. But overall, this is a good draft for a template, and I'll be posting this up so everyone could use it and you guys can modify it, use it as a basics to get where you need to be. It's not perfect, like the lines. This is okay. The line's just kind of not matching where this line is going. I think it stops right here. This stops right here. But overall, I give it maybe 65% done, what I would do for it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this journey of creating a hairstyle, the face, and one set of clothes. You could do the same for the male. You could do the same for different phenotypes. This is just one set. And obviously the eyes aren't matched correctly. I can also make another part where we use Blender to get them matching because the mesh they have is really excellent because their weights will bring the eyes down more, which is great and all. And we could actually change the way she moves. She moves like she's like a robot half the time, but I'll leave it at how it is. That'll be like near the future if I have more time. This takes a lot of time trying to get something out. And also this is my first time using this type of settings. I usually just use phenotype and color variants, where if I were to change this type, it would be, for example, like a admiral, then I'll have like maybe a ruler or general, like in these different types. So it's just easier to have a unison and then just changing the face and the hair for each character. So if you went to a different color variants, I'll give you a good example. So if I were to go with her, if I were to, I don't have hairstyle, clothing, it's just gets complicated so quickly. I could just go and change it, have different variants, different colors. I could change the mesh and make their heads move and eyes, but the angle of each eyes and their face angle is different for this phenotype. So if I wanted to make it perfect, I would have to make another animation for each phenotype, and that would mean I'll have to have like 50 different types of phenos because each eye and their position is totally different from each one. So that would affect the blinkings, and it could make the head a little bit more jaggedy. But I could do some motion right here and maybe the hair moving more other than them like exaggerated breathing. So like there's always work to be done with these like styles that I could be doing, but overall they're decent. It's not as much, I would say it's heavily, if you get a good template going on with human, it could be as fast of how I make these designs, but it's like all in your favor of how you're trying to do like your own style. So, and also I'll give you a bonus tip about hewing. I forgot to mention in part 3 is, for example, let me just move those back. I'll just use this for example. We could just use hue. Well, it's gonna be a bad example since she has this background. So imagine I edit this whole thing like I did previously, cut everything out just perfectly or close to it where you don't see the white outlines. You can easily go to hue and see how it's blue. We could just go to like cyans and blues and we could literally change their colors to match like whatever style you're going. So if it gets like weird and more pixelated, go ahead and go to cyans and do the same direction. and try to get to a good color where it's not like this pixelated. So you might have to like brighten it, might have to change the darkness, whatnot. If you fiddle around just right, you won't see this pixels as much because could be just the blues that are just doing it. So you just have to match a good spot where it doesn't look too bad. And you could go with like, I mean, it's not too bad. It's to me, it's pixelated. It's just the picture I grabbed for the clothing. It's not as high quality as I want it to be. So grainy, but I can always run it through more times in Stable Diffusion to take out a lot of this grain color. Either way, it's not too bad, but it's really useful to use this hue. So if for some reason it covered the face, let's say the face was getting colored, or the hair is getting colored with this, it's just not showing. Well, oh yeah, I totally forgot. So I targeted two colors, the blues and the cyan. So if you were to use master instead, it would target every color. So let's bring this back to 0. Bring back to 0. You could minorly change it. You could go to master. You could change everything. Like I said previously, you just slowly go. If you like a good color from master, but you're like, I don't know why my face is changing too. I mean, master changes every color. You got this hue, just paint. Just go ahead and go and paint. And just use, and just paint it back. And now she's close to what it was. So, and you just gotta get a little more in detail so that way, oh, and that's the main reason why. So when we made this face, I didn't do a good job right here. So it's getting butchered with that animation. So you gotta be a little detail oriented when it comes to using Stellaris's animations because they are really sharp. They don't like things that are kind of a little too blurry in a sense to too sharp. So you have to get right in the middle of their style of animation, or it's just gonna get choppy. So it's just a little, pixel or two can make a huge difference, especially right there. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy this part, and down the road, I'll definitely show you how to change the humans with the Blender, and Blender's free with Stable Diffusion. Yeah, Photoshop is, you have to pay for a subscription or pay for a license from previous or whatnot. There's other ways or alternatives to get something similar that does the same stuff that I'm doing. You can also use PaintNet to get to DDS to save it. So if you have some type of art form that you can't save to DDS, paint.net is free. You can just go ahead and use that, and it's real simple to use. Just like the word itself, it's just paint.net. You just bring you just have to bring a file over. Oh, these are not transparent, but you just bring a file over. And then you just go ahead and hit save as, and you should see DDS on here. Yeah, here it is, direct draw. And then you can just hit save, and then it's the same thing. You use BC3 linear DTX. You could keep these settings, they'll just be fine. And then just hit OK, and then you have your DDS. And this is a free software you could use. Just call paint.net. And that's it. Alright guys, enjoy.